Tunde, are you ready for this?
Yes, Amara, I'm with you.
Good, let's go.
Amara, here are the documents.
Thank you, Tunde. Let's review.
This is for the custody hearing.
The first time Amara Okoye saw Tunde Balogun, he was sitting alone outside courtroom 4, holding a small pink lunchbox against his chest. Around him, lawyers hurried through the Lagos courthouse with files tucked beneath their arms. Couples argued in low voices. Families whispered about property, custody, and betrayal. But Tunde said nothing. He simply stared at the lunchbox as though it contained the last peaceful thing left in his life. Amara had handled divorces for almost 9 years. She had watched love turn into evidence, apologies become accusations, and wedding photographs end up inside court files. She had stopped believing that marriage broke suddenly. To her, it cracked quietly for years, then collapsed when everyone was too tired to keep pretending. She approached Tunde with the calm confidence that had made her one of the most respected divorce lawyers in Lagos. He stood and greeted her politely. The lunchbox belonged to his 8-year-old daughter, Dora. He had taken it from her school bag that morning after dropping her off. He had been so distracted that he forgot to return it. That small mistake seemed to embarrass him more than the divorce itself. Tunde was not angry with his wife, Kemi. He was not demanding revenge. He did not want to destroy her reputation or take everything they owned. He wanted shared custody of Dora. He wanted enough time with his daughter to remain her father, not become a visitor she saw during holidays. Amara listened without interrupting. When she asked why the marriage had failed, Tunde looked toward the courtroom doors and said the problem was not one dramatic betrayal. It was silence. He and Kemi had once talked about everything. Then work became demanding. Bills increased. Grief entered their home after Kemi lost her mother. Tunde responded by working longer hours. Kemi responded by withdrawing. Years passed, and the two people who had once shared every dream began living like polite strangers. That wound had shaped her career. She became a divorce lawyer because she wanted control over the kind of chaos that had controlled her childhood. But control had come at a price. She trusted contracts more than promises. She understood legal commitment, but not emotional surrender. Every relationship she entered ended when the man began asking for more than she felt safe giving. Tunde knew none of this. To him, Amara was simply brilliant, composed, and almost impossible to read. As the case continued, he began noticing the small kindnesses she tried to hide. She remembered Dora's birthday. She corrected a junior lawyer who referred to Kemi as the enemy. She rejected a strategy that could have humiliated Kemi in court, even though it might have strengthened Tunde's position. Amara wanted to win, but she refused to win by burning down what remained of Dora's family. Tunde respected her for that. Their conversations slowly became warmer. He spoke about the house he had designed for his marriage, with wide windows and a courtyard where Kemi once grew herbs. He admitted that after she moved out, he could no longer sleep in the bedroom, so he rested on the living room sofa beneath the hum of the ceiling fan. Amara spoke less about herself, but Tunde noticed when her silence carried sadness. One rainy evening, a flood trapped them in the office long after the other employees had left. The city lights shimmered against the wet windows. Traffic stood still below. Tunde made tea in the small office kitchen and placed a cup beside Amara's files. For several minutes, neither spoke. Then he asked why she had become a divorce lawyer. Amara gave the answer she usually gave strangers. She said family law mattered because broken families needed fair representation. Tunde looked at her gently and said that sounded like the answer written on her firm's website. For the first time, Amara laughed in front of him. It was brief, but real. She told him about her father. She told him about the letters. She told him that she had spent most of her life wondering whether love always became a weapon once people were hurt. Tunde did not offer empty comfort. He only said that some people failed at loving each other without losing the ability to love their children. The words unsettled her because she wanted to believe them. Over the following weeks, Amara found herself thinking about him outside the case. She noticed his name before every other email in her inbox. She remembered the tired kindness in his eyes. She wondered whether he had returned to sleeping in the bedroom. The realization frightened her. Tunde was a client. His marriage had not legally ended. His emotions were raw, his future uncertain, and her responsibility was to protect his interest, not become part of his confusion. So Amara created distance. She moved meetings to office hours. She included her associate in every discussion. She answered only questions related to the case. Tunde noticed the change, but he respected it. Then the case took an unexpected turn. Chief Dorogeya produced photographs of Tunde entering a hotel with another woman 6 months before Kemi filed for divorce. The courtroom shifted instantly. Kemi looked wounded. Tunde looked stunned. Amara requested time to review the evidence. Outside the courtroom, she confronted him. For the first time, disappointment broke through her professional calm. Tunde insisted the woman was his younger sister, Busy, who had returned secretly from London after escaping an abusive marriage. She had begged him not to tell the family until she felt safe. The hotel had been temporary accommodation. Amara asked why he had never mentioned it. Tunde said Busy's story was not his to expose. The photographs had been carefully cropped. A wider security recording later showed Busy arriving with 2 suitcases and a young child. Travel records confirmed her identity. The accusation collapsed. But the damage revealed something more troubling. Someone had been following Tunde before the divorce case began. Amara traced the investigators' payments and discovered they had not come from Kemi. They came from Fullerene, Tunde's business partner. Fullerene had been secretly moving money from their architecture firm into private accounts. He feared Tunde would uncover the fraud, so he encouraged conflict between Tunde and Kemi, hoping the divorce would distract him and force a quick sale of company shares. Fullerene had even been feeding Kemi selected information, making Tunde's long work hours look suspicious. The divorce had not been created by Fullerene. But he had pushed every crack until the marriage broke wider. When the truth emerged, Tunde was devastated. Kemi was equally shaken. For the first time in months, they spoke without their lawyers. Kemi admitted she had believed the worst because she had already felt abandoned. Tunde admitted that his silence had made those lies easy to believe. They did not suddenly reunite. Some wounds had gone too deep. But they agreed that Dora would not pay for their failures. Instead of continuing the custody battle, they chose mediation. They created a parenting arrangement that gave Dora equal access to both parents. They agreed to attend family counseling, not to save the marriage, but to learn how to raise their daughter without resentment. On the final day, Dora waited outside the mediation room. When her parents emerged together, she studied their faces carefully. Tunde knelt and told her she would still have 2 homes. Kemi added that she would never have to choose between them. Dora wrapped her arms around both of them. Amara turned away before anyone noticed the tears in her eyes. The divorce was finalized quietly 3 months later. Tunde thanked Amara in her office. He placed Dora's old drawing on her desk, now framed behind glass. On the back, Dora had written that Amara helped her parents remember how to be kind. Tunde said there was something else he wanted to tell her, but Amara stopped him. She already knew. And part of her felt the same. But she told him that gratitude could feel like love after a difficult season. She told him he needed time to rebuild his life without attaching his healing to the person who had guided him through court. Tunde did not argue. He thanked her again and left. Months passed. Amara returned to her cases, her routines, and the quiet apartment where everything remained exactly where she placed it. Yet something inside her had changed. She began handling divorces differently. She still fought firmly when necessary, but she asked more questions before choosing war. She reminded parents that children remember tone long after they forgot legal details. She also visited her father's grave for the first time in years. There, beneath a pale morning sky, she forgave him for disappearing. Then she forgave herself for believing she was safer without love. Almost a year after Ton's case ended, Amara attended an exhibition at a Lagos art center. Dora's school had displayed paintings about family. One painting showed two houses connected by a bright red bridge. Amara smiled before she noticed Ton standing beside it. He looked healthier. Lighter. He explained that he and Kemi had become better co-parents. Dora was doing well. His company had survived Folerens fraud. He had moved into a smaller home near Dora's school and finally stopped sleeping on the sofa. They spoke until the exhibition hall began to empty. This time, there were no files between them. No court date. No legal crisis. Just two people standing beneath soft gallery lights, meeting again after life had given them time to become honest. Ton asked whether she would have coffee with him. Amara looked at Dora's painting. The red bridge was uneven and childish, but it reached both sides. For years, Amara had believed love was a house people entered before someone locked the door behind them. Now she understood that love could also be a bridge. It did not erase the distance. It simply gave two people the courage to cross it. She said yes. Their relationship grew slowly. Ton never treated her as the woman who saved him. Amara never treated him as the man who proved love could not fail. They were simply two imperfect people who had learned that honesty mattered more than appearances, presence mattered more than promises, and healing could not be rushed. Years later, when Ton asked Amara to marry him, Dora stood nearby holding the same pink lunchbox her father had carried on the day they first met. She had kept it as a joke. Amara laughed until tears filled her eyes. Then she accepted. Not because she had finally found a love guaranteed to last forever. No such guarantee existed. She accepted because she had found a man willing to speak before silence became a war, listen before hurt became anger, and remain present when life stopped being easy. And for the first time, Amara did not need certainty to feel safe. She only needed the truth, offered daily, by someone willing to keep choosing her.